Most of my early experiences with Tekken 3 were through playing the game with friends. Much of the time this was through a demo disc and not through the full version of the game. This means I experienced a lot of Eddie mashing the kick buttons, both on the dealing end and the receiving end. The upgrades from Tekken 2 seemed incredible to me. The atmosphere of the game captivated me as well. The visuals were great, I liked the music, and the characters all seemed so unique. It was also the first Tekken to have modes beyond just fighting, such as Tekken Ball and Tekken Force mode. This helped me get more friends willing to give the game a try. Despite loving the game, I didn't really play Tekken 3 that much when it was the newest version. As games in my country were released in PAL, they ran slower than NTSC regions. Shortly before the release of Tekken 5, my dad was regularly travelling to China for work and was able to bring back a bunch of NTSC games for me, including Tekken 3. I remember playing the PAL and NTSC games back to back and struggling to keep up with the speed of the NTSC version. This worked well for me and my friend trying to prepare ourselves for our first ever Tekken 5 tournament at the arcade, before Tekken 5's console release of course. Not to say that Nina's story was all sunshine and rainbows up until now, but things definitely took a darker turn for her in Tekken 3. We learned that Nina failed in her mission to assassinate Kazuya. Apparently some old dude threw him into a volcano instead. Rude. Nina was captured and experimented on while being in cryogenic sleep for the past 15 years. Ogre's powers reawaken her and she's determined to eliminate Jin Kazama. Cryosleep conveniently allows Nina to still be 22 years old. Whether through the cryosleep or being manipulated for Ogre, she seems to also be suffering from amnesia. She doesn't remember her likes or dislikes and is trying to remember who she is. Perhaps watching a few episodes of Tom and Jerry would help her remember, but that'll have to wait until after she mindlessly chases down Jin. So let's hop into practice mode and have a look at what's new in Tekken 3 for Nina. If we look at the move list, you can see quite a few new moves compared to Tekken 2. Surprisingly, once again, they're not showing everything in the move list. There are a few new features. Hit analysis is interesting because as we don't have frame data, it does give us an indication of what is plus or what is minus on hit and block. So let's run through quickly what's new. We've got backsway now in Hayashida step. Sidestep moves such as sidestep 1, no extensions. Sidestep 2, lift shot, surprisingly, does not launch unless you hit them from the side or on counter hit. Sidestep 4, heel slicer. It's launch punishable on block and not a counter hit launcher. Spiral explosion, sidestep 1+2, which is a launcher if you can dash in fast enough. Downfall 3-2 and Downfall 1 now have sidestep cancels, but you cannot perform sidestep moves from these. But the sidestep itself seems to have a bit more evasion than in future Tekkens. Helping hand, down back 1, not a counter hit launcher. Double slap, I believe this is I-15 as a punish and gives a free follow-up. Assassin dagger, forward 1, this can knock down or flip them to the side for a pretty good mind game. We have Panther Claw and Quick Panther Claw. If you do the forward non-hold 2, you get a free forward 3 afterwards for a lot of damage. Speaking of that, forward 3, bad habit, the counter hit launcher as well. We've got Shut Up, which is a normal hit launcher. We've got Wipe the Floor, which is still of course minus 40. I believe the only thing guaranteed is another Wipe the Floor at the moment. We've got Betrayer, the unbreakable throw, such a great addition. And of course it can go into multi-throws as well. And we've got Evil Mist as a guard break. At the moment the input is quarter circle forward, down back 2+3. And it does guarantee a geyser cannon. Another new move is low parry. So low parry isn't universal in Tekken 3, only a few characters can do it, with Nina being one of them. I gather that if you low parry a kick, you get more advantage than a punch. Both inputs for Blonde Bomb now look the same, but the forward 1+2 does more damage. Jumping flip throw is now up forward 1+2 as the input. Geyser cannon can be input as down back 3+4 or down back 3. Both seem to have the same properties here, but of course one would be 1 frame faster. A 3D world means some moves work a bit differently. But don't worry, Nina has way more strings now, including 1, 2 into the down 3 strings, 2 into the down 3 strings, down forward 3, 2 into the down 3 strings, down 3 strings on their own. Just too much, man. Some moves like Geyser Cannon and Bonbon have pretty insane pushback, making them quite hard to punish. Geyser Cannon's very good at the moment in my opinion. Right backhand body blow still only launches on clean hit, and I believe it's punishable on block. Here are some pretty simple combo routes you can do. For a lot of damage too. Tekken Force is a fantastically fun beat 'em up minigame where you can choose to use any character. Points don't really matter of course, but it is how you unlock Dr. B, which is fun. The controls are a little bit awkward as you turn around and try and sidestep and move to deal with the characters approaching you from either side. But yeah, it's good enough. And you can't really do it as a PvP situation, so it's not a big deal, it's all about having fun. From what I understand, this is also where the chicken saying for Tekken came from.
Chicken.
This mode's less about knowing properties of your character, less about doing combos or anything, and more about finding moves that could hit multiple opponents at once, or KO them quite quickly. You will find at times you're overwhelmed with opponents, and that's where it's very important to find moves where you can hit a lot at once. The pushback's also quite different, meaning if you do combos, such as on the bosses, you can find situations where you can do a lot more damage than a typical combo in Tekken 3. Although, a lot of it will be off the screen. Now, Tekken 3 is the first game where Anna is not Nina's sub-boss. However, you can verse her in Tekken Force mode as a sub-boss. While normally you go through the arcade or the story mode and you verse Anna before the final bosses and then you unlock her, in Tekken 3 you actually unlock the characters in sequence, and to unlock Anna you have to beat arcade mode 5 times with a different character each time. Instead, in arcade mode we find the sub-boss to be Heihachi. There are so many things I want to talk about with this game. It looks great, it's so fun, it really feels like a huge step up from Tekken 2, and with the massive time skip we've got so many new characters as well. I mean, I can't go through a video without mentioning someone like Gon, Dr. B, the 2 console exclusives, and of course Mokujin. This is Mokujin's first appearance in this game. But then I also need to talk about all the other characters that have become such a staple of the series, like Brian, Eddie, Hwarong, Jin, Julia, and Xiao Yu. But coming back to Nina, this is the game where we saw a lot of her core moves come in, such as Shut Up, Wipe the Floor, her sidestep 1, Snake Shot. I mean, all of her sidestep moves, everything about her sidestep game came in this Tekken. And then Bad Habit, Forward Forward 3, a move that players that don't even really know Nina or know the game competitively recognise Nina for. I won't go into how busted of a character he is, but let's talk about how awesome of a boss Ogre is. So in the story, he's been hunting down the fighters, and you notice he has a combination of moves from a bunch of different characters, like Jun, Bruce, Bak. A lot of characters that aren't appearing in Tekken 3, but were in Tekken 2. Then you defeat him, he picks up Heihachi and he transforms into a giant Mothman with a snake hand. Isn't that cool? I always thought Ogre was a really cool character, and it was nice to see him brought back in Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken Revolution. There's still so much more to say, but I guess I need to finish here. I hope you've all enjoyed my retrospective look at Tekken 3.